Hi guys. We're continuing with the Aztec interdisciplinary notes. So in the previous video, we were doing the section of life science, and before that, we've been doing social science, and before that, language, just writing, and so we were talking about the life science, the different types of life, such as animals, plants, and fungi, and microorganisms, and the scientific method, which is a testing and experimenting in order to learn new things and to examine how things work and how they work together. Also, living things grow and they change and they adapt and they also evolve over time. Um, ba- uh, Based on their environment, which is the other living and non-living things surrounding uh, the creature. And an ecosystem is a community of living things working together, um, and interacting with non-living things in a habitat or a home. So native species are suitable in an environment, invasive species are not. Populations are groups of the similar species that inhabit an area at a particular time. Okay, and then taxonomy is a way of defining groups of living things based on their shared traits. Um, you use domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species as a way of grouping different living things. Of course, if you want to look up more details about all this information, there's hordes of information about all this stuff. You can Google it or whatnot, or get books from the library. Um, okay, and what else? So, food web is the way of explaining how living things uh, uh, are able to eat each not eat each other, but other living things, or predators and preys, and how they are related. Um, and a food chain is a simpler version of a food web. Genetics is the study of hereditary traits. And then in the next section, Earth and space science, we have a universe, then galaxies, which contain celestial objects. Galaxies contain star or solar systems containing planets and moons. And all objects or heavenly objects are pulled together with gravity, an attracting force. Um, so gravitational pull keeps everything together. A thing called rotation is the way planets and stars spin um, in a certain way. This is rotation. An orbit is when a planet travels around their star on a path. So the path that it travels on is called an orbit. An ellipse is the orbit of most planets in an oval or egg-shaped curve. This is called an ellipse. So physical science is the study of how the physical world works, or how nature and the properties of energy and matter work. It's physical science. The atmosphere is a layer of oxygen and other gases that surround the Earth or any planet, and this helps control the climate. So the gases around the planet control the climate. The greenhouse effect is how is a specific way of describing how the gases in the Earth's atmosphere trap the sun's heat and warm us. The climate is the way that the weather um, pat the weather weather patterns work on the Earth. The climate changes over time as well. Okay. Physical laws are the rules and the properties that energy and matter and particles and parts make up the world. And these physical laws are the rules and the properties that that are followed that describe how the physical world works. So energy, matter follow rules or physical laws. There are reasons of how things work the way they work, as referring to energy and matter. There are patterns, and these have been observed by scientists. Natural laws of motion or movement um, governs physical science. So, one law is Isaac Newton's law, which states 3 points. An object in motion remains in motion. So, an object at rest remains at rest unless acted on by another force. So, an object in motion remains in motion. This is inertia. And acceleration is produced when a force acts on a mass. And the third point is for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So these are related. And force is defined as mass times acceleration. Force changes the motion of an object. It and so So force changes the speed of movement of an object as well as its direction. Mass is the amount of matter in an object. Weight is the force of an object due to gravity. So mass and gravity. Density is how much mass an object has in a certain three-dimensional area of the object. Density. So gravitational force is the idea that any two objects in the universe attract each other. Example is an Earth and the Moon. So gravitational force acts between two objects. Magnetic force is the idea that two electrically charged particles attract or repel each other. Magnetic force. And then speed. Speed is how fast an object is moving, and this does not consider the direction. So it could be moving in any direction at a specific speed. And a velocity is the speed and the direction as well. It explains how fast an object moves in a given direction or the rate of change that it's moving as it changes its direction. That's velocity. So again, force was mass times acceleration. Okay, an atom is the smallest unit that defines a chemical element. And an element is any material, for example, oxygen, that cannot be broken down into two different types of atoms. So an atom makes up an element, any particular element. When you have two or more atoms of the same element, they combine to form molecules. We'll continue in the next part.